I'm Kay. Standing outside the courthouse. The air feels different, a fresh start after the storm that upended my life. The battle is over, but the exhaustion is so deep it borders on numbness. I hold my son, Ethan, close as he cries quietly, not in fear but in release. The weight of the past few months is finally lifting, and I can almost breathe again. It all started on my birthday. The winter in Seattle was biting, with cold seeping through the windows. My husband, Ryan, stood in the middle of the living room, holding a large shopping bag with a ribbon. His voice lacked the warmth I used to cherish in our early marriage. "Happy birthday," he said flatly. I couldn't help but hope. We had talked about a fur coat months ago while passing a high-end boutique. I had paused for a moment, admiring its elegance. Ryan always noticed such things, though he rarely acted on them. "Open it," he said, glancing at his watch. The bag was heavier than I expected. As I pulled the ribbon loose, a musty-smelling, old fur coat emerged. It wasn't the sleek, new coat I remembered from the window. It was worn, with a lining that had yellowed over time. When I mentioned it was used, Ryan scoffed. "Money isn't happiness. Practicality is real fur," he said, as if reciting a rehearsed line. I ran my hand over the stiff fur. "Someone else wore this," I said quietly. Ryan dismissed my concerns, saying he couldn't spend large sums on whims. I remembered his talks about business success and new investments, and I felt a pang of disappointment. "You promised things were going well," I said, my voice low. Just then, Ethan burst into the room in his superhero pajamas. "Mom, happy birthday. Dad gave you a coat." "Can I see?" he asked, his eyes wide with excitement. I forced a smile and showed him the coat. "Wow, you look like a superhero queen," he said. Ryan seemed satisfied, but I could feel a crack forming in our relationship. Ryan insisted I wear the coat for dinner. I didn't want to, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. After he left the room, I sat there with Ethan's arms around my neck, trying to ignore the sinking feeling in my chest. Later, Ethan found a hole in the coat's lining. Inside, he discovered a key with a note that said, "Train Station Locker 305. My heart skipped a beat. I told Ethan it was a surprise and that he couldn't tell anyone, especially his dad. The next day, I went to the train station under the pretext of running errands. The station was bustling, and I felt exposed in the old coat. When I found the locker and opened it, a box filled with letters, photographs, and a black leather notebook awaited me. The letters were from the late 1990s, written by a man who was clearly in distress. He talked about interrogations, being wrongly blamed, and hiding important documents. In the photographs, I saw Ryan at a corporate event, much younger but unmistakable. The notebook was filled with financial records and company names. I saw Ryan's company several times, along with large sums of money and deadlines. One red ink entry said, "Our must settle by the 15th. Amount outstanding." The 15th was my birthday. I remembered a woman approaching us at a cafe a month ago. Ryan had gone pale when she greeted him. He introduced her as a former colleague, but now I suspected there was more to it. That evening, I went to see Mr. Thompson, an elderly neighbor who was a retired detective. I showed him the notebook and letters. He was shocked. "These are related to an old industrial patent scandal. The investigation was buried, and an engineer took the fall, but he was a scapegoat," he said. He warned me that if Ryan was involved, I was in danger. "Make copies of everything and hide the originals. Don't let Ryan know you found this," he advised. I nodded, fear creeping up my spine. A few days later, I got a call from Ethan's school. He had been in a fight on the playground, and his drawings showed signs of distress. When I met the school psychologist, Dr. Miller, he explained that children mirror their environment. Ethan was afraid because of the instability at home. Dr. Miller gave me his personal number and said I could call if I ever felt overwhelmed. He also assured me that Ethan wasn't sick, just scared. For the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope. One evening, Ryan casually mentioned sending Ethan to a private institution overseas. He said he had already made inquiries and that it was the best thing for Ethan's future. I was shocked. "You didn't discuss this with me," I said. Ryan's expression turned cold. I don't need to. He's impressionable, and this is the right time to shape him, he replied. I refused, and he threatened to take Ethan away on the grounds that I was unstable. He said he had professional evaluations to prove it. That night, while Ryan was asleep, I used Dr. Miller's guidance to access Ryan's home office. I found photographs of a young, pregnant woman with Ryan and property documents in her name. There were also fabricated psychological evaluations of Ethan, designed to make me look like an unfit mother. I copied all the files onto a flash drive. As I lay awake beside Ryan, I knew the fight for my son had begun. One day, I followed a woman named Ms. Harper to a park cafe. I was shocked to see my best friend, Lily, sitting with her. They were talking about Ryan's recklessness and his plan to move assets through shell accounts. Yes. Harper said that if I became a problem, accidents happen. I heard Lily say that Ryan would take Ethan as leverage if he ran. I was so terrified that I accidentally made a noise. Lily heard it, but Ms. Harper dismissed it as the wind. I managed to escape, but Ryan soon texted me, asking where I was. I didn't reply and started running. Every car and stranger seemed like a threat. Back at home, I was shaken. The betrayal from Lily cut deep. I knew the danger was real, and time was running out. Dr. Miller found something familiar in the letters I showed him. He realized that the woman who wrote them was his mother, who had disappeared when he was a child. The letters were about his father, an engineer who was wrongly accused in the patent scandal. Dr. Miller discovered that Ms. Harper was an alias for his mother. She had hidden evidence and a will that left everything to him, including the patents. We decided to take action. We documented everything and involved law enforcement. Just before a disaster, Dr. Miller warned me not to get in my car. A student had overheard a conversation about brake failure. We drove to a cabin in the woods to stay safe. By morning, the arrests began. Ryan was taken in at his office, Lily at her apartment, and Ms. Harper was detained under her real name. The most difficult battle was in family court. Ryan's mother came to me and showed me copies of the false documents Ryan had made her sign. She said she wouldn't lie in court anymore. In court, Ryan's attorney tried to paint me as an unstable mother, but Ryan's mother testified against him. A recording of Ryan's cruel words about using Ethan as leverage was played, and the judge terminated Ryan's parental rights. Now, 6 months later, life is different. I'm expecting a new baby. Ethan's drawings are filled with happy scenes, and he sleeps soundly at night. Dr. Miller has become a part of our lives, bringing stability and safety. One evening, he gave me a small box with keys to a new home and a car. No secrets, he said. I smiled, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. I've learned that safety is built step by step, and family is something you choose and protect. The truth has finally prevailed, and I'm ready to move forward with my new found family.